This is Women for Gun Rights with your host, Amanda Suffecool, part of the DC Project.
Hey folks, welcome to Women for Gun Rights, and today our guest is Michelle Cerino. You see her all over the place, and as we get into this conversation, you're going to see why you see her all over the place, because when you're in the industry in the way that she is in the industry, you find out that she's got a finger in this pie and a finger in this pie and a finger in this pie. And so she's kind of, so you never know quite which hat she's going to be wearing when you see her when she's out and about. So Michelle, thanks for joining us on Women for Gun Rights.
Thank you. I'm so excited you invited me. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So let's start with the tag that is underneath your name, which is Women's Outdoor News. So you were, last I heard, managing editor. Is that still it, or where are you?
Yes, I am. And you know what? I looked back and I started writing for Women's Outdoor News in like 2014. So I've been managing editors since 2017, maybe.
Okay.
I don't even know, but yes, I mean, and I just love it. I love all my writers and the different companies I work for. I am so gracious for the opportunity I have with those people. It's awesome.
That is amazing. So give me some backstory. Were you a writer, or were you a sportswoman, or which path brought you to Women's Outdoor News?
It was kind of just a coincidence. Trying to think back, I started, oh my goodness, I think I wrote for Barbara Baird first. I also wrote for what was Harris Magazine way back when.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of blossomed. Barb and I got along really well together. And I just, I started with like some reviews and stuff like that. And then once I had my own column and it got sponsored, then I just love to write. And more importantly, I love to teach. So anytime I could get information out to people was so like, I love getting information out to people, the right information out to people, and just teaching. So it just kind of blossomed into, other magazines, even into, I wrote for New Pioneer for many years. So I kind of covered everything from reviews to lessons to, New Pioneer teaching you how to make a birdhouse and stuff like that, glass blowing.
Oh, that would be cool. It's opportunities to experience things and then share them with your readers.
100%. That's my big thing, is trying something new, stepping outside my box, which of course is different than what other people think. But if I can inspire somebody to go try, like I said, glass blowing, why not just try it? You might suck at it, but you might enjoy it, and now you have a new passion.
Yeah, you might do something. So, I mean, and when you say step out of your comfort zone, step out of your box, you are the most adventuresome person that I think I know. So having stepping out of your comfort box means that I would be stepping out of my comfort state, right? I mean, it's so far away from where I would be. But yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to try something new. And like I said, you don't know what you might fall in love with that you enjoy. Mm-hmm. So it's important. It's important to try those things.
So tell people about Women's Outdoor News. How do they get to it? Where do they find it? Is it a print? Is it online? How do they, yeah.
So it's only online. It's womensoutdoornews.com. We have, Monday through Friday, I put up a new post, at least one every day. And it could be, we do book reviews, we do cooking, there's recipes, there's so much information, and it's not, it's outdoors. It's everything from fishing to hunting to shooting to crafts. There's a craft every Wednesday. And it's only online, but there is a newsletter to sign up for. So we have a newsletter that comes out every week, and you can also get a notification that you set up whether it's every day, if something new gets posted, you'll get notified, or every week. You can set up how often you want to receive that. So there's like so many ways, and we're on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram. So There's a lot of ways to get to it.
There's a lot of ways. Okay, there you go. So, and is it the same content that's on Facebook as Instagram? Because one of them I'm way better at than the other one.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, I believe they go over to both. And like I said, Pinterest too. You never know what you find on Pinterest if you delve down through that rabbit hole, which I tend not to. I don't have to.
Right. When you head in there, it's like, oh, I have to squirrel. I have to see this, and then I have to see that, and then the next thing I know, I'm learning how to change my oil or what color to paint my sofa.
And was it time for dinner? Who eats dinner? Did I need to make dinner? I don't know. It's like 7 hours later.
Exactly. All of that. All of that in one little package of, you never know. So I'm amazed by Women's Outdoor News. I'm amazed by the ability to write and to be clear and persuasive in what you do and to actually spell and use grammar and all of that kind of things. I have to say that my background is engineering, which means I can't spell. It's just it's a natural predator one to another. I swear it is.
Right.
And so those of you who have the spelling gene, I applaud you very much so.
Well, and it's not just, it's being able to tell a story. And that, so much of our stuff, it's not just here's a gun, here's a review. I like this gun because like they're out in the field using them. One of our girls was just duck hunting or learning sporting clays, and there's content. It's not just, oh, here's this gun and we need to tell you about it, or here's a fishing pole. It's a whole story. And so many of the writers really just immerse themselves in the product or in the lifestyle. And that's probably one of the big differences between us and other women's magazines or online magazines is we really immerse ourselves. And it's not just like, oh, I need to write another review. Like I did a whole series on increasing your grip strength for Springfield Armory.
Okay.
So I did three parts to that series. Or for Guntown Mamas, like I did one on domestic abuse, which we really get into important topics. Not that everything else isn't, but there's a lot that we cover that not everybody does, and that's why I so love being a part of that group.
Oh, that's pretty darn amazing. So you mentioned Guntown Mamas. I know that you work for and with several different companies, that you do their social media, you do their training, you do their stuff. So let's go down through a couple of those. I know that Guntown Mamas is one of them, that you manage their social media. So your quirky personality now becomes their byline. Is that how that works?
So let me say Guntown Mamas, which is GTM original, had to fix things for Facebook a while back. So you have to understand that I worked for Claudia. And if you take what I do, so here's me and here's Claudia, if you know Claudia. Claudia's little teeny tiny, love her to death. Her personality is like, boom. I mean, she's the one that tells me, you need to get crazier on there. Get crazy, sometimes I do some live things or some videos, and we really feed off of each other with that. She kind of lets me do what I want to do. So I know one time I was on there, my mom saw it, she's like, it was last Christmas maybe, and I had on glasses and a hat, and she's like, I had no idea that was you. I'm like, who even are you at this point? Like, I don't know. It's fun, and it gets people on the site, and you know what, who cares? You only live once, right?
Right, yeah.
Right.
So I just think that's, I have seen some of those where you're posting doing something, and it's just like, where's she going with this next? What is going to fly out of her mouth next?
And yes, and some people do fear that just a little bit because you don't know, but there's always some sort of a plan in the background. But yeah, so I love that I get to review the purses, and I've gotten to test a new purse when it came out. And, the GTM purses there's certain things you have to look for in a concealed carry purse, and she has all of them. And I just really can stand behind them. And like I said, I got to test one, and she made changes. Simple little things. I'm like, the zipper needs to be a little bit longer, or think that the bottom needed to be a little bit like everything I suggested, and I had my reasons, and it all got changed before the actual purse that got sold went out. So every purse, every style does get tested, which is something I don't know if other places do it, but they do get tested on the range and all that stuff. So,
Well, I think that one of the interesting things is the quality of full disclosure. I play with a lot of concealed carry items. I mean,
yes,
because I do the concealed carry fashion shows, so I get to handle a lot of products from a lot of different companies. And the thing I really kind of like about Guntown Mamas or GTM Original is that it doesn't scream, I have a gun. It doesn't scream, I live in Texas. It doesn't scream, whatever those different, things are. So they can go from the boardroom to a night out without an issue, and you can be carrying the whole way if you need to. Yeah.
Well, and there's the one person, I was doing a talk for a group in town, and we're just talking about concealed carry, and I brought out the purple. It's purple and has glitter on it, and I'm like, who thinks there's a gun? Who in their right mind is going to walk around with a purple glitter purse with a gun in it? And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's got a space for it, a separate compartment. But yeah, you would just never assume. I don't know. And she has the new tiny wallet ones, the smaller ones, which are so tiny that, I mean, obviously a teeny tiny gun in it, but if I need to carry a gun and I just want to carry like driver's license and a couple of things, you can do that.
Right.
And nobody knows the difference.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't scream that you are prepared, and yeah. So there's some people who are absolute. They've got this opinion that on body is the only way to carry, and I think they're wrong in the fact that sometimes that's just not an option, or it doesn't work for some people. And having one is way better than not having one. And so,
well, that's a huge thing that I've had so many men come up to me and say, I need you to get my wife to carry in a holster on her body. And I say, so does she not carry? And they're like, no, she carries in a purse. And I said, does she carry every day? Yes, she does. Like, then let her do what she wants to do.
Yeah,
that's what she's comfortable doing. And the thing, like, I know, I was walking back to my car one evening, and it was, dark. I wasn't in a bad area, but I was by myself. I had my hand on my gun the whole time. Nobody had any idea. I just had my purse right in front of me, my hand on it, and I just was comfortable that way. And what if you have a big, long winter coat on? How are you getting to that gun?
I think that there are places for all of it, and that it is a very, very, very personal decision that each person has to decide what they're willing to do, what they're willing to change, and how they're willing to do it. And so someone else can't, when they start a conversation with, what you ought to do, it's like, well, I want to hold a mirror up and say, you know what you ought to do? And it has something about mind your own business, right?
Or do you know somebody's going to steal your purse? Really? I mean, I don't know. It's all the GTM purses have wire in them. It's like somebody can slash it, and okay. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Last time I was walking through Wadsworth, Ohio, I don't know of too many purse snatchers, but whatever makes them feel good.
Whatever. Yeah, it's pretty. Some of it's pretty amusing, if not amazing.
And like you said, but it's so personal. It's like people will say, what kind of holster should I get? I don't know what to tell you. It's so personal. I can suggest some of them, but I mean, it depends. Well, where do you put your holster? Like, it's personal. I tested them. I had them on my hip. I had an appendix. I went through 2 weeks of different holsters to figure out what's most comfortable for me. But it all depends on your body type.
Right. You don't want to say, well, I'm 1.5 feet taller than you are, and I probably have 40 pounds on you, right? So what works for me? Different. Yeah, what works for me doesn't work for you. and those people who are apple shaped or pear shaped or any of the fruits, right? It changes the dynamic of how you carry.
Yeah.
I have to tell you a story about my husband. He had this belief that he was going to carry in an ankle holster.
Okay.
He can't reach his feet. We're just going to say he's not limber enough to get down there. And so it was all, no, I have to say, I want to say I refrained, but instead it just flew out of my mouth. It flew out of my mouth that, oh, great. Is part of your defensive plan that when they knock you down, you're now laying on the ground and you're somewhere near your ankle?
Well,
because
there you have it. Or maybe he needs to take some yoga classes and get that stretching in.
Something, because if you can't reach your ankle, you don't want your gun there,
No.
right?
No.
But it doesn't make that on body carry so much better than a purse carry, because it is so personal. You know, where are you? What are you doing?
And it's, do you practice? Do you practice whatever it is? I don't care if it's purse, if it's ankle, wherever. Do you practice drawing from that and know how to draw from it? I mean, whatever you do, just make sure you practice it.
Right. Can you get it? Can you get it out? You know, and there's so many people who are like, well, you've got to be able to get it reholstered quickly.
Oh my God.
I think I got unholstering needs to be speedily and reholstering needs to be careful, because by the time you're reholstering, if you have an incident, you're high on adrenaline, you're already shook up, you're already something, you've got all this other stuff going on. So careful needs to be that concept, at least in my opinion.
Well, I mean, this is going way out there and people probably beat me up over it, but you're reholstering because the threat is over in whatever way. You're reholstering because the police are going to show up and you don't want to be the person with the gun in your hand. If it comes to it, can you just freaking set it on the ground and put your foot on it or something? I mean, is there other options? That's the one thing. And on the range, people will, shoot their target and then hurry up and go back to the holster. It's like, there's no race. There's no race back to the holster. Now, if somebody said, oh my God, the police are at the door, you just get whatever. Yeah. But there's no race to the holster.
Right.
I don't think gunfights were one doing that, but.
Right, speed it to the holster. I mean, instead, one of our practices should be, police, drop it. And then you practice dropping it, right? I mean, because listening to what the police say is probably way more critical than a speedy reholster.
Yeah. Or let's even go this far as to say, how are you holding it? Hopefully, when the police arrive on the scene, they are going to quickly look at this, assess the situation, and see if you're not how are you holding it? Are you holding it just in your hand, muzzle down, not even gripping it because you couldn't get it put away fast enough? Maybe that's the only option you have. But how are you doing that? And again, listen to what you are told. There's an option.
Right, we're going to explore that one. That would be listening skills. Yeah, there we go. So let's talk a little bit about you training. I know that I ran into you in Texas at a Girl and a Gun conference where you were teaching shotgun for CZ.
Well, I was teaching pistol there.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a little convoluted. So I work for CZ USA Field Sports, which is the shotgun, field sports. It's the long guns.
Okay.
But Dave Miller hired me as event staff because he doesn't know pistol, but I know pistol. So when he would have events, I can hold my own at shotgun stuff well enough. But when there's events that include pistols, he wanted me to be able to come to do the training on that end of it, or if people had questions about the pistols. So I'm very fortunate that when there are shotgun events, I get to go to those. But like at a Girl and a Gun, I get to teach the pistol portion of it. So
okay,
I live in two worlds with that.
You live in more than two. So what? So when you're teaching pistol, what are you covering? What are you teaching? What are you trying to get across?
So I am very fortunate that they give the way it's set up at a Girl and a Gun is it's leveled. So you have like your beginners or your newer shooters. And Juliana and Robin let me work with them. So when I work with them, my main thing is I teach them, make sure we understand sight alignment, sight picture. I make sure they understand trigger press. Um, the draw we go into, the grip. I'm really work on the grip really hard, because if you can have an awesome grip and it's a nice strong grip, it's the correct grip, you can get those sights back, settle down, sights on target, and make your next shot. And I am very proud that one thing I could do is, some people will be in the class that are a little bit better shooters, but they can be tweaked, and I can find those people and I could fix them. And I don't want to toot my horn, but when somebody comes up to me at the end of class and says, nobody has ever explained it to me that way, I now understand, or I could never fix that until you showed me that one thing, and then I get a hug, because I'm like a drill sergeant out there. The one girl said one year, "Are you law enforcement or military?" I'm like, neither. But
I'm
but
just adamant.
I'm just very serious about this. You need to pay attention. And Juliana and Robin get mad because I have pulled ponytails. People don't listen. I'm like, I'm going to pull your ponytail. I'm just, that's what's going to happen. But there's always followed by a nice hug. There's always a hug after. But that's just, people who say, oh, I go to the range and I shoot all the time. It's one thing to shoot a gun. It's another thing to hit your target where you want to hit it. And that's what I try to get through to people, that if you just can do these little things that'll help you, or the people that peek every time they shoot, like, you're peeking. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. Okay, then let's do this. And all of a sudden I get them to realize they're peeking and they fix it. And it might mean every time you shoot your gun, you close your eyes right away afterwards. And all of a sudden their rounds are all on target.
Right. They're not trying to look over the gun and pull the gun down, right?
Yeah, they'll shoot shoot 3 rounds, and all of a sudden every third round is like low, like, quit peeking. I'm not. I'm like, oh. And then I'll just go in with them and I'll shoot their gun, and there's just so many little tricks that you can learn. And until somebody says, oh, okay, I am doing that, you have to acknowledge that you're doing it. You have to accept it. And once you accept it, but then have a tool to fix it, then you could fix yourself anytime. I had one girl that learned, she flat out peeked every time. And she seriously had to close her eyes. And all of a sudden she's shooting, and she says every once in a while she'll start dropping the last shot. She says, I just start closing my eyes when I'm done, and then I'm fixed. So that, to me, that's like the most important thing.
Right, because now she fully understands what and why. And with the why, now she can do something better.
Well, and I don't know if you're like this, but I'm like this, and I think there's a lot of women that are like, well, why do I need to do it this way? Or why? Tell me why. And I feel like I can answer those things. Like, this is why I'm telling you to do this. Try it your way, and then try it my way, and see what happens. And I'm that person no matter what class I'm in. And I'm not doing it to be, mean, but tell me why. Why are you telling me to do? Why are you telling me to stand on one foot? Well, just do it.
Well, yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. It's sort of like think about it like directions. I mean, like somebody's giving you directions to the store. They tell you to go up 3 streets, turn right, go 2 blocks, turn left, and go 3 more blocks, right? You go that way every time. And after a while, you can explore and go up 4 streets and over 3 and then up, And once you figure out where it is and why you're headed north, then guess what? There's 3 or 4 or 5 options as to how to get there. But if you don't understand why, you have to follow exactly what they say without any deviation, because otherwise you're never going to get to the store.
Well, and regardless of whose class you're at, you try what they say. Try it, see if it works, because maybe it might even just be a little piece of it that you find works for you. But at least try it and then go from there.
Right.
Don't poo-poo things, but eventually, you'll find what works best for you, but always
Mm-hmm.
be open to other pieces, parts.
Right. You don't want to pay for training and then say, no, I know better, because you don't know better.
Yeah,
You might as
right.
well get everything you can get out of that instructor while you've got them, and then
Hmm.
then move from there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so what training do you have? Where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you training in 2022?
Um, so I am working with Apex Shooting and Tactics in out of Wadsworth, and it's with Andrew Bluebaugh. He's law enforcement in Wadsworth, and we are going to continue running faster, training for the school staff. So we will be doing that together. We are going to be adding in a ladies only class. We also do. He allows me to go with him to help with. There's schools that cannot carry guns
Mm-hmm.
in them, which that sounds funny for me. It's usually, do you know there's schools that can carry guns? But I get to go with him to those where we teach active shooter type classes, and
Mm-hmm.
we're working on the calendar. And yeah, we're just going to be offering some different classes, and the faster is the big one, and that'll be in June. I think we
Okay.
had those dates already set up. So there's a couple other things we're working on that I can't really talk about just yet,
They're all secret.
but
Okay, well, let's go back to
stand by.
Faster. Let's go back to Faster for our audience. And Faster is an acronym, and the acronym stands for
So
something, right?
the faculty and staff, yeah.
Administration,
Oh,
staff.
see,
Yeah, I
I
don't know.
this is where
Yeah.
I get in trouble because I cannot memorize things
I
like
can't
that.
either.
So,
I don't remember what it is, but the gist of it is that it is for teachers, lunch ladies, school administrators, bus
mhm.
drivers,
School bus drivers, yeah.
anybody who works in the school district to be the person on the ground if there's an active shooter that can stop that active shooter. Can
Correct.
can be there
So
first.
it's in the state of Ohio. Now there's legislation going on. I know our last class of last year, at the end of class, something passed, and all of a sudden everybody was denied the ability to carry in the schools. Um, I know they're still working on that. We have classes scheduled for this summer.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it works is in the state of Ohio, the school board can decide if there are people allowed to carry in the schools. That is up to each school board. So there are many schools in the state of Ohio that they do have armed staff. Some of them, it's public. Everybody knows they're armed staff in there. They might not know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And others are, it's a secret. Some schools don't even know they carry. Some schools don't even, or they don't know who the people are. So it varies,
Mm-hmm.
but it's up to, I don't know who actually makes the decision, who gets to carry, but by the time they get to us, they have been approved by their school board or whoever. They have to get their concealed carry license. They have to go through a primary class with somebody that works with Faster. So they go through, I don't know how many hours it is, but a primary
Mm-hmm.
class where we make sure everybody's on the same page with grip, with just shooting, just the absolute
Mm-hmm.
basics, fundamentals. Then they come to us, and it's 3 days. It's mindset. It's a lot of shooting, a lot of shooting. They have to take the OPATA qualification,
Mm-hmm.
which is Ohio Police Officers qualification. They have to score, gosh, I think, and I might be saying this wrong, but like maybe law enforcement has to score like an 80% or an 85%, and our people have to score like a 95%. And I could be completely wrong, but just know that they have to score much higher.
Yeah, it's higher. Yeah.
And yeah, and then we also add 3 extra shots to the qualification that they have to do. And then there's scenario based training with not simunitions, but like the rubber balls.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a full day of that. So it's pretty intense. There's also medical. It's like, it ends up being just, our part of it is 27 hours, but then you add in the the other group, or when they go through the pre-qualification,
Mm-hmm.
that's 4 hours or something like that. But they also learn like tourniquets and kind of like a stop the bleed type thing,
Right.
because we try to explain to them that the law enforcement will be there, but your ambulances, your medics, they might not be allowed in for a long time.
Right.
So
Yeah, and
you
that's
just don't
that's
know.
one of the things that happens in an active killer situation is that they cannot risk additional people to go into someplace if
Right.
they don't know that it's locked down, they don't know who or what. And so many people are really hurt worse or die for
Hmm.
lack of medical care in those first minutes, and in some cases it is 30 minutes, 40 minutes before
Oh,
medical
it could be hours. Yeah.
could get to them. And so having somebody that has a stop the bleed or the that true trauma first
Mm.
responder on site saves lives. And so even if they're not willing to carry a gun, having that portion of the medical inside of a school is very helpful.
Well, and that's another thing that Buckeye Firearms Foundation does do, is they offer training in that part where they'll go to a school
Mm-hmm.
and they'll teach you how to do tourniquets and everything. And then they even have kits that they sell where it's this big box and you could throw parts out of it, where like this is just, and it's in and of itself a little trauma kit. And they could, like, let's say something happened in a lunchroom or something, they could go in and just start whipping stuff to everybody that needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, if not everybody, I mean, obviously you don't want anybody and everybody carrying a gun in the school,
Right.
but you find those people that can do that, and then they need to find the people that you can say, listen, when this happens, there's going to be a lot of carnage. Or, I mean, think about what could
Mm-hmm.
happen, and influence those other people to learn. Like, could you do this for me? I
Mm-hmm.
have this part, but I need you to do this part, and that's how you bring other people into the mix, which is so important. And they've even people that have been trained have used the tourniquets for, like, somebody got like stabbed with scissors or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been stuff that's happened that went to our training that they did have to use some of
Right.
the tools that they got. And that's how awesome is, I mean, not awesome for the person injured,
No,
but
but it is because they survived. I mean,
yeah, true.
heard
Yeah.
I heard that there was a lawnmower incident, and somebody did
Yes.
that. There was,
Mhm.
this kind of an incident. There was a car accident, and so their training and education carried over to other
Right.
places, and so
Right.
that too is also great. I last year had the benefit of sitting through, well, not sitting through, engaging, being involved,
Mm.
being a student at one of the FASTL classes, and it was amazing what what they taught, what you learned.
Mm.
And then the second part was watching. There was no photographs because they don't want anyone to know who the teachers are. They don't want anybody to
Right.
know who the administrators are. Those people stay. It's their secret. It's between them and their schools. And
Mm.
but watching the mindset, watching the fact that for years they go into a school and they know they're willing to give their life for their students.
Mhm.
And so you're saying, you're willing to die for them, but here you don't have to. Are you willing to fight for them? And we'll give you the tools to be able to do that. I
And
thought it's amazing.
that's just it. It's the tool. It's one of the saddest things ever heard, and I'm sure I told this story at class, is a friend who had to tell, when something had happened, there was an active killer in a school. She had to tell her daughters that if this happened in my school, I will I will protect the children with my body. I mean, how devastating to have to tell
Say
your own
that.
children that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, and that's all she could do. I mean,
Right.
that's what she could do. But for somebody else to say, I, I, and I'm not poo-pooing the people that can't, because I get that. So I
Mm-hmm.
just get that. But for the people that know that they can do it, like, thank you. Thank you for wanting to protect children that aren't even yours, but they love those kids so much that
Right.
they're willing to do that.
Right.
It's an amazing thing. I'm so proud to be part of that. Like it's probably my favorite thing to do.
I can see where the passion comes from because you watch it, and the students they really are America's greatest treasure. And
Hmm.
so anything that we can do to protect them, and then understanding the mindset of all the teachers and administrators, they go into teaching because they're
Yeah.
nurturers, because they're caring and all of that. So some of them are like, I'm just not wired to be able to have
Right.
the thought of having to take a life to save a life. I can't do it.
Hmm.
Okay. So, but can you do a tourniquet? Can you do the medical?
Exactly.
Can you be, can you be the first responder to back up someone else who says, okay, as much as I don't like it, I could do this if I need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or can you take my class? Can you be the one that I'm going out there and ending this? Can you be the person that I can depend on to get my children
Grab these
out of
kids
there?
and run. Yeah.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
mean, there's so much involved in it. It's
Hmm.
just such a huge thing. But and I was in the school systems for a long time. I was a substitute teacher for many years, and then I taught for a little while. So I kind of feel like I bring something. I mean, I'm obviously not bringing law enforcement to it because I have no law enforcement, but I'm bringing that. I'm a mom that was a teacher that knows I would do anything to protect those kids. And then I kind of know how the school, that whole
Hmm.
lifestyle is. So
Hmm.
I think that's part of what I bring to it is
Well,
just a different perspective
well, and I think it's a
than
great
most.
perspective. And, hopefully the Ohio legislature will get fixed this circumstance. And so, as I understand it, it was a parent who sued the school to be able to stop teachers from being armed because they wanted them to have the exact same amount of training and hours as a police officer, with not a big understanding of the fact that as a police officer, they have several hours of traffic stops and writing tickets
Mm.
and, directing traffic and throwing stop sticks and, all of this kind of stuff. So they don't
Yeah.
need that part. They need the
Right.
part that they need. And I know that state legislators and state senators have said that they will fix it. So it's just working its way through the Ohio courts and through the legislature to rewrite the bill to
Mm.
fix it.
Well, hopefully it all happens because they are just, I can't imagine having the permission to do that and then having somebody take it away.
Hmm.
Knowing I would just be like, now what am I supposed to do? Because it is kind of on the opposite end, going into a school and having to teach people what to do that don't have firearms,
Hmm.
and having somebody in this glass office by a glass door with a desk right there say to me, well, what's going to happen? And I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
The
Duck,
f- yeah,
do a matrix move.
the first person that an active killer picks has no warning, and that's the shame of it. And so we're putting them out there. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
tough
crazy.
subject. So
It
on
really
a,
it
on a
really
happy
is.
note,
Yeah. But I think it's a subject that people need to think about because if their mind's never been there, they don't know it is
right.
available. They don't know it happens. They don't know that Ohio led the way and other states are copying it, mirroring it, mimicking it and doing things
Mhm.
about it. And so making it familiar to people, as sad as the circumstance is, I think is
Yeah,
critical,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So okay, what's new? What's on the horizon? Whether it's women's outdoor news or traveling
Um,
to a trade show or what do you got going
well,
on?
I'm super excited about SHOT Show. I'm excited, just my God, to see people. I was at the USDCA Concealed Carry Expo in November. Was that November?
October.
October. Okay, October. But oh my God, it was just so wonderful to see people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to SHOT Show. I do know of, I don't know if I'm allowed. So I know of a couple things coming out with different companies. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I'm allowed to talk about.
Right.
Um,
So,
but there's some new things on the horizon.
For people who don't know what SHOT is, it's the industry, it really kind of is the kickoff of the new year, the industry rollout of everybody's new things. And let's talk a little bit about Industry Day at the range, because I think that you could talk about that in generalities to fill people in.
So, for people that have never been to it, it's where a lot of new products come out, and you get to it's the new guns mostly, and you get to go through and just shoot whatever you want. Try all the different. I mean, there's shotguns, pistols, rifles. There's rows and rows of maybe glass. I mean, there's everything. Like, what isn't there?
Yeah.
There's free coffee. But you get to experience it live on the range. And then once you do that, you go back to in the actual convention, you can look more into it. Maybe you're going to take some pictures of it or talk to them more about it. But at least you have the opportunity. Like, I know Springfield. So I write a column for Springfield. Is one of my columns. And they always have. And my gosh, they released a ton of new guns because I posted them all. Like, they had one a week. I'm like, you guys, come on. You're keeping me working for Women's Outdoor News. But yes, so I know I know I am going to their section on the at range day, because I mean, they're going to have all their new guns there.
You get to shoot them, experience them.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that's amazing to me about Industry Day on the range is that I tracked it with my Fitbit, and you're walking from range bay to range bay to range bay, and they're side by side by side. It is actually a mile in the loop of ranges side by side by side by the time you walk up and you walk back. So shotguns are aiming one direction, and long guns are aiming, kind of in the middle, pistols on both ends, but it is a mile. It is the biggest range that most of us have ever had an opportunity to be at.
Well, then it's a lot longer too when somebody's like, "Hey, I'm up here at so and so. Meet me here." It's like, "Oh my God, I'm all the way down here," and then you go all the way up to but you can't. Well, do they have a bus anymore to get you from one end to the other?
I don't know. At one point, they had a little shuttle. Yeah.
Yeah. But then the one year they had those electric bicycles to try. Oh yeah, there was electric bicycles, and there was like a truck. Yeah, there's other little things too.
Right.
So it's just getting to experience all the new products live fire, which unless you can get a hold of them, you're not going to know. And then you know what you can talk about or what you want to learn more about.
And then it's just the overall energy of everybody rolling out. Here's their new stuff, and to me that energy is just. It is so great. I think it's a great way to kick off the year.
Oh, absolutely. And especially with it having been I mean, it was only canceled once, right?
We
missed 1 year.
Yeah, so SHOT Show 2020 was like the last thing that anybody really officially went to before they started, because they had CPAC, and then it and then it was everything's shut down.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's going to be a lot of excitement on Monday while we're there. A lot.
Right.
So and then obviously going in and just seeing all, not everybody's at range day, and then going in and seeing the new products, at the booths, and just talking to people and finding out what everybody's been up to or what's new or what's going on, and then learning about new products that are secrets.
Right.
A little bit of secrets.
There's so much, industry people kind of move around. So you'll see somebody someplace, and then next year, 2 years, they're in with another company. They're someplace else, and you're like, there you go.
What are you doing here?
Right. And so it's like they never go away. They just move on. They move to someplace else. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. And there are the parties too. I mean, if we can put that in there, there's a couple events going on. So those are always at the end of the day, just nice. And they're going to do, I believe, NSSF is doing the Women of the Gun event again.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm out of the loop because I don't know of any of the stuff that's really happening this year. So I'm kind of waiting to see.
okay. So
Maybe
as soon
I'm
as I
off the
find,
invite list.
I will let you know as soon as I'm sure
Yeah.
I'll know something this week. I'll let you know.
That would be great. We'd
Okay.
love to have it and know it and share it with the gals that we know that are going. I mean, because
Absolutely.
there's
Yes.
definitely a lot of the DC Project gals are going. A lot of the I mean, I know that you guys have Women Outdoor News has a variety of writers. Are they all going to be there? Most of them going to be there?
Um, I I am not 100% sure. I believe there's three of our writers. Well, at least three are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody's like, I'm planning on going, but I don't know, some of that. I don't know what's going to happen. So I think we're going to have three. I'm sure that they will be following us on social media. We'll be sending in our pictures and things like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I think at least three, if not
Okay.
more.
It's gonna be epic. I'm just
Yes,
we're
absolutely.
just all so ready to
Yeah.
this has to get over, and so
Mhm.
at some point it's got to work its way through. Though, yeah,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
watch and you listen and you learn and you're like, wowza. Yeah, yesterday I flew home yesterday, and so watching what's happening at the airports, it's like, okay, now we'll see what happens in 2 weeks,
Mm,
right?
okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I have
I've
a
been flying through all this, so.
yeah. Yeah, and I have two more flights before we get to that one, and so it's like
Oh,
wow.
wow.
And you're just watching, airplanes not take off now. That's the thing. You think you're good, and then you're not good.
Hmm.
So you can do everything right and still be
Yeah.
sitting on the
Yeah.
curb waiting to see what you're gonna
Well,
do
and
next.
Vegas is a long walk, so it's not like we can rent a car to get there.
No, not at
But
all. It
yeah,
really
well,
isn't.
fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But it will be wonderful and to see people and I'm so excited to introduce people to new products that are coming out. And I mean, there's a lot of new stuff coming. So
Okay, so I definitely want to hear what you think are the best when it's done. So I'm going to
okay,
give you a standing invite to come back and
okay,
we can talk about the new stuff that is out there because I think that our listeners love to be in the inside scoop, to love to hear who and what and who's doing what and what's coming up
okay,
and what you like and what you don't like. And I think that it's beholden on us to put it out there. Let them see
absolutely.
what our thoughts and opinions are and the whys because I think that women do so much better in explaining the whys.
Well, and I can say that there's a couple of companies that are going to be having some women specific things coming out.
Ah,
So
actually
that's my
designed
little
for them, not shrink it and pink it.
nope, nope, nope.
Okay.
I
Well,
can't say anything else. But yeah,
that's a
so
teaser.
haven't seen it yet, but I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that it's good.
Okay. Well,
So I'm
so tell
excited.
folks where they can find you, how they can find you, how they can follow you, and we'll go
Okay.
from there.
So, well, womensoutdoornews.com. Also, my website is being updated. It hasn't been updated for a long, long, long time. So that is in the process. And it is princessgunslinger.com. And as I always say, it is trademarked. The name is trademarked. Don't try to steal it. Um, so princessgunslinger.com, and that's also my Facebook and Instagram. My goal is this is a new year. This is a new life. And I'm ready to really get to work with everything I'm doing. And there will be more updates on social media. My website will be updated. And I'm excited about everything that I have planned for this year. It's just going to be an amazing year. So those are probably, that's how you can get a hold of me, Facebook or Instagram.
Instagram, Princess Gunslinger. I'm telling you.
Mm,
So, okay, folks. So, thanks so much to you, Michelle, for joining us on
thank you.
Women for Gun Rights. And, folks, we will see you again next week, Friday. as we have another amazing gal that is doing so much for the Second Amendment. So we will see you then.
This is Women for Gun Rights with your host, Amanda Suffecool, part of the DC Project.